have our first ban on the board. 2 supports right off the bat, Hooper and Comfey out of the pool.
Yeah, something we're seeing a ton of from Eastern teams. Both Japan and APAC, they love banning away these supports in the draft phase and make it 3 supports. So Hoopa, Comfey, and Blissey all banned. Zeta Division will love to pick at a first pick spot where the more, meta-defining damage dealers, but you're going to be giving up whatever supports are left, so they are going to favor the Eldegoss. Now ONIC Rise has their choice of whatever damage dealers they want.
You know, this actually still leaves Umbreon in the pool. I was going to say, even though you ban all these supporters, Umbreon has still been a fan favorite for a lot of these teams that can pivot. Oh my gosh, we have an Urshifu here for ONIC Rise. I have not seen this Pokemon being played by this team in such a long time.
Okay, interesting. I mean, it is an incredible Pokemon. We talk about how Umbreon can kind of flex between roles in the draft phase because of the supporter and defender role. Urshifu can also flex to a few different roles with their either single strike methodology or rapid strike. They kind of fill different roles in a meta way. So that will be interesting to see how ONIC Rise wants to land.
Coda's choice. When was the last time we have seen Blastoise since the recent nerfs?
It's been a minute. It has been a minute, Danley, and they are rocking Rapid Fire Scarf Muscle Band as well. So we are most likely going to see the Spinstoise.
Spinstoise, I think definitely an option here. And we are seeing some follow-up Dragonite and Trevenant to round things out here on the side of Zeta Division. Are we doing double bird?
Yeah, I think we're going bird comp on the right side. That would make a lot of sense. I mean, if we are looking at Zeta Division's composition,
Charizard?
One thing screams, I mean, I can't believe Charizard's getting last picked, honestly. To tell you the truth, how strong this Pokemon has been, there it is. Dev is going to lock in that Pokemon. But on Zeta Division's side, we have a secure base composition.
Secure, lots of lockdown. So much lockdown, it is not funny. You've got Hydro Typhoon, probably going to be Surf on the Blastoise as well. Have to deal with the Wood Hammer as well on that Trevenant. This is... I don't even know how ONIC is going to be able to engage, because the moment they get in there, they're going to be locked up, thrown against a wall. They wouldn't even be able to move, which means Rom, this guy's going to have so much room to move. He doesn't have to worry about anything. Although maybe the X factor has to be the Charizard. Maybe Dev's job is to bypass everybody, use that Unite, and just fly on top of this Inteleon. It's
an unbelievable team fight Unite move. Maybe one of the best in the entire game. Sarah Ledge gonna come in for a contest with that in the current metagame, but it is unbelievably strong. One of the
maybe the full heal is the solution here to ensure that they get that lockdown. But here we go, game number 1, ONIC Rise versus Zeta Division. ONIC, on the back foot, they have to win this series if they want to stay in the competition.
This is so big. The stakes could not be higher for this roster. In fact, you said they were 0-2 to their previous set as well. A 2-0 is necessary here for them to really keep their tournament dreams alive. Zoe going to start things off with a quick score on the Umbreon, try to mitigate that weaker early game of Umbreon and get to that evolution as quickly as possible.
Yeah, was thinking of getting the berry, but Zoe will back out instead, and no KO. So this is already a bit of a victory here for this little Eevee. And also gave a little bit of room for Dev to get his experience as well. Nothing too crazy. I'm surprised we saw no invades.
Yeah, honestly, a pretty tame game, especially when we have Dratini versus Cubfu in the central area. 2 Pokemon that are very susceptible to getting invaded, but a lot of game 1s will tend to be this way. A lot of respect given to either roster. They want to play it a little careful in some of these early moments, but now we have an Urshifu on one side and a Dragonair on the other.
This matchup is so foreign to me at the moment, because normally we would see Zeta going all out, but the fact that both teams are running these mid-game tempo control lineups, it's really going to come down to this first team fight. Who wins that and who's going to come out on top? Obviously up top we are seeing this Urshifu causing a lot of grief to Zeta Division. Does get the score in, Vitopo is here, but as a Dragonair, do they have the firepower? They do. They will get rid of the Urshifu, which is a massive win for the team, and Charmeleon almost going down to the Drizzile. Rom coming in for support, the attacker rotating? Come on!
I mean, Zeta Division, called him Garbage on. Zeta Division loves these rotations, and Vitopo landing 2 unbelievably important electric-type boosted auto attacks from Dragonair. They have, when they're in that Dragonair stage, they have a couple of different types of boosted autos they can hit when they rotate between. The electric type stuns the enemy, and they were able to line up multiple KOs in a row. Unbelievably good early game moment for Zeta Division.
Yeah, Rom did go down in that bottom lane, so great KO from ONIC. They are trying to wrestle this control away, and they're they're going to be able to get Vitopo as well. So Dragonair going down. No Dragonite for you. You can stay as a danger noodle for a little bit longer. And now I think the aggression is going to continue because we know Eeyore, Water Bear, you want to fight on the pad.
Oh, exactly. The Flux Zone is an illusion. It is a runway for Urshifu to try to earn some damage. However, Eldegoss and War Turtle, some pretty defensive Pokemon in their own right. Eeyore's going to take a big boosted from the War Turtle.
Oh, Miss Hurricane.
Going to bounce off a Miss Hurricane. They don't have the opportunity to follow up on it. And Charmeleon deals way more damage than people give it credit for. A very tough middle event.
Yeah, if he can get the Charizard in the middle of this fight, it would be such a big turning point for this team. We do see an evolution. Blastoise is there. It's a rapid spin Blastoise as well, chipping him down to half health. We still have the Wish coming out from the Umbreon to give the sustain for this team. And we have a big push from ONIC Rise. They want this top pad. They say, we don't want to give you that map control. This lane is ours.
Okay, I mean, we begged the question, are they going to jump into the early game against Zeta Division? And ONIC Rise have answered with a resounding yes. They're going to focus on the Regieleki, of course, the score focus objective, the tempo focus objective, and give up some EXP in the bottom side. No matter what, I don't think you're winning that one against a Dragonite and Inteleon, two of the best secure Pokemon in the entire game. So that will go to Zeta Division. But scoring pressure and lead pressure is still in the hands of ONIC Rise.
Yeah, ONIC need to keep up this pressure. Even though they won that top lane, you've now got to start taking that lane in that bottom lane. And if they can actually try and win this, it would be huge. But they did not get the Reggie in that bottom lane, so they're missing out on some buffs. ONIC has, Eeyore has been spotted. And I think for ONIC, they're just going to say, guys, we back up a little bit. Let's reset. We find that next opportunity. Don't run into them head on. We find that chink and we crack their armor.
Yeah, it's tough to do against Zeta Division, though, a team that is well known for playing a very tight-packed compositions and lining up together.
Oh!
Snipe Shot plus a Hyper Beam. I mean, we talked about how it was secure for wild Pokemon. How about for player Pokemon as well?
I mean, if there's an Inteleon, everything's a wild Pokemon, right? So
yeah, if you're a hammer, everything's a nail. I think Vitopo really leans into that.
Yeah, interesting decision though. So ONIC, they are focusing in that bottom lane, whereas for top lane, they've basically just given this away to Zeta Division. So it seems like for ONIC, they have a plan. They've decided to basically disengage at the one time where Zeta have a big power spike, right? They've got all of their third evolutions. They want to fight with all their unites. Do not engage into a tree and a Blastoise.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because ONIC Rise is kind of playing a little bit of footsie with the side of Zeta Division.
They have
little engagements. They're going on these, but they don't want to take these big team fights. You're right. The Unite moves out of Zeta Division in team fights are going to be so tough to deal with. So instead, we're going to try to force these little 1v1s and invasion strategies. Luna able to walk away, scald for a bit of damage to try to prevent the score, but 11 points will still go in for Tomato.
Yeah, it could have been denied if that Fire Blast was a little bit more to the side, but sometimes you're just not that lucky. Zoe scouting for the team. Vision, so important for the team. Axe-Q here, they're coming in with the cram, doing half health damage there to the Blastoise. Luckily, hasn't been caught out. Oh, but the snipe shots, you've got to be so careful. Look at Rom. The predictions from this man, they are so clean.
What a tough choice for Zoe to have to make, right? Is do I engage on Umbreon, do I block the snipe shot? But either way, it all comes down to a fight like this. Urshifu will clean up that Registeel. That Unite move, hitting absolutely everybody. That Registeel buff doing wonders for them. Great Blastoise response from Kakata to top the goals on that tier number 1. Urshifu is in the back line with a Trinity Unite move. Hits absolutely everybody. Tomato is locking them all down, but it's Umbreon with the response. Zoe gets the KO, but no scores out in the goal zone. And a snipe shot from max range from Rom is going to add another KO to the leaderboard.
And now it looks like it might be Zeta Division advancing onto ONIC Rise, who run out of gas. It's actually down to their final 2 core players, Eeyore and Dev. If they can somehow stall things out, this team could potentially try and go for the save, even committing the Unite as well onto the Blastoise, as well as that Dragonite. They will get the Dragonite. Blastoise really wants to sustain, not enough. The Charizard will burn him down. Eeyore, though, his team is a little bit too late, so he will be going down. Unite's been used on Rom. Great way to zone back ONIC, and I think these two teams, they're going to have a bit of a breather here, because if they keep going, these objectives are going to start slowly spawning back, and you do not want to be in the middle of a fight when that Reggie spawns in the bottom lane.
Yeah, you can have those post-fight shenanigans for a little bit, but don't hold on too long, because you'll be giving up some huge experience. I actually think if any of those kind of post-fight moments were the big ones, it's Charizard picking picking up the knockout onto the Blastoise. Now we have a level 12 Charizard for ONIC Rise, and now they ticked over to 13. So hit the 13 at 3. That is huge.
These levels for ONIC, their macro is on point for this game, and especially with the late game potential that can come out from Zeta Division as well. Now, even though you have a level advantage, we have seen teams in the past manage to crush them based on being able to just find that one opening, getting that one pick off before a Pokemon can unite. Basically making any kind of opening for them. And we know Zeta, they're a very crafty team. They are very opportunistic. If they see that opening, they will go for it. So ONIC need to keep themselves composed. Don't give them that opening.
Absolutely not. Ooh, interesting. Full heal from Aluna to try to walk away from the Woodhammer, but they're going to get hit by the second. They're locked down. Slowbro, the master of locking down, is locked themselves. And now that objective is going to have to be given up. That Regirock going to go easily into the hands of Zeta Division. Slowbro's respawning. Rayquaza's coming in about 12 seconds. ONIC Rise going to give up the objective, but they do earn some positioning, but Zoe's spotted out, and they have to bail.
They have to bail, and this is a really great buff for Zeta Division as well. Defensive buffs, it's going to allow you to out-survive some of the damage output from ONIC Rise. So for ONIC, I'm not sure what the plan is here. Are you the ones to bait Zeta? Is it Zeta to be the ones to try and fight into ONIC? Because at the moment, Zeta are leading in terms of points.
Yeah, ONIC has to make the here. You can't allow it to be a secure race.
The snipes!
Dragonite, snipe shot damage from Pokemon. So Axe-Q takes basically their entire HP bar already. Dev is trying to use their Unite move in the backline, but they haven't found an appropriate target just yet. They grabbed the Blastoise mid Unite move. Thank you, Charizard buff. And now Dev is raining down that fire from the heavens. Aluna going to use that full heal to try to make themselves a little bit more relevant in the fight, but the damage has been done by Zeta Division. They've earned the spacing. Rayquaza starts getting hit, but Cramorant joins the battle.
Oh, but Cram goes down though. He was right in front of Vitopo, so a Hyper Beam to the face takes him down. It's down to EO as well as Illuna. But this Urshifu can't do this all on his own. This Slowbro, if this man somehow manages to make the Rayquaza steal of his life, he can still save the game for his team, trying to survive with the Scald, but with no Scald, there's no secure. And Zeta Division getting the Rayquaza and potentially locking game number 1. What an intense Rayquaza fight.
Yeah, just how they drew it up, right? No, not everything goes according to plan, but in the end, it will be that Rayquaza secure after an amazing team fight win. I mean, honestly, we saw ONIC Rise with a few great engagements. They pick out a few targets, but that Dragonite is untouched that entire fight. And Vitopo is able to Dragon Dance around the competition and land some key Hyper Beams and take those knockouts.
I actually feel like it's Rom. Rom was a big factor for why ONIC weren't able to really advance onto Zeta Division. We saw so many snipes, basically cutting the entire ONIC roster's line health bars in half. And especially for something like a Cram, the Cram is basically almost an insta one-shot if you're at full health from that snipe shot. So the fact that even Illuna, a slow...
Yeah, that's an interesting point, Annalie. I'm curious about how that's going to play out. I like ONIC taking first pick, though. The Mimikyu is going to be less likely to be banned away in this matchup, something that I know a lot of APAC really likes to play. But that being said, Zeta Division is
actually
going to stick to it.
So smart, the Mimikyu ban, because if Inteleon goes through, Mimikyu is a fantastic way for Dev to get on top of the Inteleon.
That, from watching the VODs of all of the APAC matches, that has always been the biggest difference maker for ONIC Rise. It has been Dev on the Mimikyu, and that being denied by Zeta Division, a big brain play.
Am I seeing a different kind of... Okay, no. Vitopo's like, no. I was thinking about it. No, wrong kind of dragon type. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, teams love to tease us with some of these highlights on their picks for sure. But, ooh, interesting. ONIC doing a little bit of the same, currently hovering that Zera aura. Once again, no surprise.
I gotta ask some people some questions about the Zera aura. The fact that this Pokemon is making a comeback, I have to ask them outright. But it's the wrong kind of bear. All right, never mind.
Yeah, we'll go with the water bear instead.
It's yellow, but it's the wrong kind of yellow. So
EO are going to be locking in that pick again, but the difference maker is going to be this Slowbro out and this Mamoswine in, and most importantly, ONIC going with a double defender composition, so going all in on that bulk. Again, we saw it with the Slowbro and Umbreon last time. This time, more tank.
More tank, but the one thing I'm looking at here is that Delphox for Axe-Q, because we have not seen a lot of respect for the Delphox, and against tankier lineups like this, it's great, but look at the Talonflame coming out from Dev. This Pokemon, I've had whispers of Talonflame coming back.
Okay, I mean...
There's a reason for it as well, and is that he's the first pick on the side of Zeta Division. Rom is going to potentially have nightmares from Dev.
For sure. I mean, this Inteleon is going to be focused every single time by this Talonflame. That makes a lot of sense. The tough part is the rest of the targets get very complicated. We're going into double defender as well. Talonflame can contend in some of those moments, and honestly, preventing yourself by getting crowd controlled via a fly is huge. So, Dev actually might be using this fly a little more defensively than we might imagine in some of these team fights, but in those roaming moments, the Talonflame's going to be hunting for the intel.
Yeah, but I also have eyes on APAC-W here because I feel he's going to play such a pivotal role in just preventing Tomato and Kokoda from doing what they're supposed 100%. To do, right? The whole point of these double defenders is you want them to run into the opponent and basically set up for the team, right? You want to run in Hydro Typhoon or Surf or whatever you want to really do. But Delphox's Unite is such a good disengage. Whether it be if you want to disengage at an objective, at a choke point, the slow and heal reduction is massive, especially for Trevenant, because this Pokemon relies on its heal.
Yeah, I've always thought that the Delphox into the Trevenant is one of the best matchups, and oh my word, look at the badges for Zeta Division.
Yeah.
Gold, 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 green. So they
play a lot of Unite.
A whole lot of games on these Pokemon in particular as well. One of my favorite things about the World Championships is getting to see that Mastery Showcase. Sorry, I guess a bit of a look behind the scenes. I don't think the viewers at home got to see those badges, but I was stunned.
It's okay. We're all allowed to be a little bit excited here. But game number 2 for Rise versus Zeta Division. Now for ONIC, unfortunately, the 2-0 dream is not possible. 2-1 is, but they will also be putting the fate of their hands in that final matchup for Zeta, right? Which, again, you don't want it to happen, but they can't afford to lose this matchup now.
Yeah, you want to control your destiny as much as you can.
And they've gone for this very interesting lineup, and if this is not going to work for this team, they are basically out of the running for playoffs tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be real rough, so ONIC needs to buckle down and find a way to take out this Zeta Division squad. Not an easy task by any means, obviously evidenced by the scoreline and just by the history that this team has had this year.
Yep, so far, nothing too crazy for these lanes. We do have a Leafeon rotation in that bottom lane, and yeah, ONIC kind of don't want to show their faces when a Leafeon is there because it's quite difficult to do anything as a poor little Fennekin. So APAC-W and Illuna just biding their time, waiting for Eeyore to come in and provide assistance because it's really going to have to come down to the experience from these Altaria and Swablu. So who's going to make the first move? It's going to be Eeyore jumping straight onto Zeta Division. He doesn't get the KOs, but all he did was zone. He wanted to give that experience to APAC-W, and now he's a Braxian.
Yeah, every Surging Strike used to actually close the gap to get into that melee range does not have enough to really close out the knockouts. But either way, it shows a great adaptation from ONIC Rise to be able to rotate to that bot path first. They know where that Leafeon is going to show up because of how Zeta Division played in Game 1. Amazing response to really read the enemy team's move.
Oh, Dev, really good water gun coming out from Kokoda, preventing him from being able to go back onto the goal zone. Eeyore is here though, but again, just the Hydro Pump. The stun from that, so annoying for a Pokemon like the Urshifu that wants to just get in your face uncontested.
Yeah, that Hydro Pump is so interesting. You lose a little bit of the damage game in when you start going into the rapid spin, but it helps your early game so much with that lating phase. The secure, the slow of the enemies included with your boosted auto attacks. It really, I mean, we casted so much Blastoise back in the day, Dan. It's been a while, but we definitely have seen the complete competitive suite that this Pokemon has.
Yeah, I think we've seen every build for this Pokemon.
Yeah, for sure.
Some Pokemon just stuck in one build, and you're just like, kind of feel a little bit bad for them. Again, though, pressure coming into that bottom lane. ONIC, again, applying, they have to apply all this early game pressure because they know that mid-game power spike really kicks in for Zeta Division. So if they can break those goal zones, that's really what they're aiming for here. So scoring as many points as possible. Tomato's doing the best that he can, but he's just a Trevenant.
Just the Trevenant, especially into that Delphox as a challenging matchup. And hey, a 4-player dedication by ONIC Rise into this bottom path is doing them a lot of favors. Problem is Zeta Division is having a whole lot of success in the top path. They're holding the points lead, and with that Regieleki countdown and no member of ONIC Rise even nearby, it's going to be a trade of objectives unless Zeta Division can steal away this Regirock with the tree.
Yep, that was such a quick Regieleki as well. So can they burst it down? It looks like it's going to be some free experience and a defensive buff going in the way of ONIC. Now, they're going to have to deal with this Regieleki top lane because you don't want want to let this through. It'll be some free points. But Rom is in the central area. You've got to be careful. He's level 7. He hits hard.
Yeah, there's that Zeta division rotation, right? We take that objective, we push for vision, and we rotate all the way through the central area of the enemy lineup. So, some good success there. This Del Foxo, I feel, has yet to make a mark on the matchup, but it could be huge, especially as we level scale. We're going with Mystical Fire and Fire Spin. So going all in on the cooldown reduction build. As many Fire Spins as you can possibly get if you're landing those Mystical Fires.
Yeah, and I think this is really fitting for this particular game because you really want to play keep away with these defenders, right?
Sure,
so just fire spin, fire spin, fire spin, stay away from me. But also at the same time, it's going to threaten everyone on the side of Zeta division because you walk into a fire spin, you're setting yourself up for Eeyore to jump on top of you. And even Dev on that Talonflame, right? And you see anybody, that's basically the go call to get the knockout.
That's true. Yeah, speaking of Dev, I haven't seen this Talonflame join many fights at all. Been pretty focused on scoring and building up that attack weight a little bit in the early game. Blastoise going to get a bit of poke damage done and push out for a bit of space, but it's that double defender core of Zeta division that is now peeling back to the goal zone. We have another Leafeon invade. I mean, Vidopo is making their home in the enemy central area.
I think the unfortunate thing, he can't get any solo knockouts because there's no one to knock out their own lane. So he's just running around trying to figure things out. Getting buffs, I think this is really the best thing you can hope for, but if they got the Hydro Pump on Eeyore, maybe that would have been a secured knockout. So missed opportunity, unfortunately. And Dev, he just flies out. He's like, no thanks.
Yeah, I think almost assuredly, right? But even a big moment like that feels like icing on the cake for Zeta division right now. Yeah. Camping out in those tall grass, hoping that one Pokemon just maybe walks by, luckily. But they are going to take down this Regieleki. Talonflame Fly gets a little bit close, but you know it's certain doom if you go after the Regieleki in that moment.
Yeah, it's too much damage as well. I mean, Zeta division, you can see how quickly they go through those objectives. So if ONIC aren't ready to go into those fights before it even begins, they're going to basically just not get there in time. We are seeing some Unites. Rom also almost got taken out, but he popped the Unite just in time, has the shielding, but they're still going to try and go for the chase. They will finally get the Inteleon and the Leafeon, so all the burst damage is gone on the side of Zeta, so they are going to have to be in full retreat. No push with the Regieleki, unfortunately, but big victory for ONIC Rise.
Feels like ONIC Rise have slowed things down a little bit this time around. I mean, Dev using a Talonflame Unite move essentially to push Regieleki back and buy them some more time, more than anything else. But we're going to have another moment for this Talonflame to try to play out, but it's a Leafeon with the immediate execute. Vidopo finds the Emerald 2-step spot and is able to take out the Talonflame. Eeyore's going to be putting in 48 in the top path, which will push them into the lead, but Zeta division aiming for a big siege on tier 1.
And it's another defensive buff there. Reggie Rock buff going in favor of Zeta division. So with this buff, you want to push, and you know Eeyore is in the top lane, so he needs time to make it down to that bottom lane. Does ONIC want to continue to try and fight into this? Trevenant down to half health, and these fire spins, as you can see now, they are starting to cause this Trevenant some grief. He does manage to Horn Leech out of there. They've caught the Mammoth Swine. This is a tanky defender. He can't even get out with the Earthquake.
Yeah, I think Luna's Ice Fang getting actually canceled by the Hydro Pump with the Blastoise there for a moment. Really timing. Big push by Dev, though. Chases down Rom. Felsinger already used, so there's no more escape tools for the Inteleon, and now this is ONIC Rise's chance to push. Festival Fireworks to really debuff all that healing, get in some extra damage, but it's Eeyore and Zoe going to be the front line. Eeyore going into the enemy flux zone to try to chase an additional knockout. 29 points in top and a few more in bottom. Count that 40. ONIC Rise holding on to a very substantial lead.
Holding on to a lead, trying to hold on to game number 2 and force that game number 3. It's not over yet though. 50 seconds to go. Got to get those wild Pokemon and get that experience. Make sure you're as big as possible going into that Rayquaza fight. And as much as I want to put my faith into ONIC here to push that game number 3, you cannot disrespect Zeta here. You have to give them the utmost respect going into that Rayquaza fight. Find that opening, and I just love how ONIC have been doing that so far, using the flame sweep to catch Rom. As soon as they get him, they know he's down to half health. That's Dev's call to go in and just jump on top of him.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Great teamwork by ONIC Rise, but now they're going to have to put something else together. Gonna give up on this Regieleki. You are playing this very cautiously. They're actually going to avoid getting hit by any of those. That's a Unite move to kick things off. They're trying to chase down Rom. They get all the way to the back line, sets up a breaker, and Inteleon's already down. Moonlit Brandon steals some of those shields, and now it's Blastoise, as then we have hit the final stretch. Urshifu down on one side, Inteleon on the other, and make that Leafeon as well, as Dev finds a huge pickoff.
Zeta, they're falling apart. Rayquaza is up as well. This is the worst time to go down. And Aluna, his job now, you have to disrupt the defenders. That's your job as that Mamoswine. Freeze them, throw them in the air, toss them in the rubbish bin. You need to take this game number 2. But Rom is back, and we all know how much of an issue this Inteleon can be. Gets thrown into the whirlwind, but also knocked out at the same time. Dev, he's actually waiting outside. They cancelled because they saw Rom charging, but who gets the final hit? The Trevenant! He steals the Rayquaza! ONIC so close yet so far. Tomato pulling magic out of thin air.
I mean, Zeta Division kind of rocked the later stages of that fight. ONIC Rise with a few really bad mistakes that really punished them, but Zeta Division coming up in huge moments. Those double defenders teed up in perfect spot. Obviously, Trevenant getting the last hit. Now they do have to score. It's 235 to 212, a minute left on the clock.
It's going into Delphox as well. Delphox's Unite is so good at ripping through those shields, and they still have a point lead. It's just for ONIC and Zeta, they have to find the right lane to score in right now.
ONIC Rise, I mean, this is one of the most important matches of their entire Unite career, and there's 40 seconds left. They have to defend these tier 2s.
Tomato.
Eject button to score, and that's a hundo from the tree. Zeta Division now hold the lead. 30 seconds remain. Urshifu dedicated to the bottom path to hit below those shields. Everybody else trying to shut them down, but Tomato finds the hole in the armor. Huge play for Tree.
Huge play for Tree. 20 seconds to go. Could we potentially see any kind of backcap play from ONIC Rise? Dev is in no position as that Talonflame to go for the backcaps. I think that's going to be it. Zeta Division securing 2-0 in this matchup and eliminating ONIC Rise